name is Michelle Pethley. I am the owner of Shelly's Wreaths and More, and today I'd like to teach you how to make a centerpiece. Now this centerpiece that I'm going to make is for my daughter, whose theme for her Christmas this year is the gingerbread people, but in the pastel colors. So I found these two little babies at Hobby Lobby. They were both $15, then 50% off, so $7.50, but times 2 is $15. All right, and they both came with these rocks in their back sides. All right, and the reason for this is technically they're shelf sitters, and this kind of weighs them down and keeps them from flopping off the shelf. However, I don't want this in my arrangement. It adds a lot of weight, so I've just cut a little slit in the bottom down here, pulled out the bag, and then just hot glued the fabric back together. I did that on both of them, so now they are ready to go. Now, the next thing that I did is I have this box. All right, it's just a wooden box, and I kind of like the roughness, or not the roughness as much as the rusticness of the box. I think it goes well with gingerbread. All right, and now I'm going to just take, and with my hot glue gun, I'm going to put glue on the foam. Actually, I'm not going to use my hot glue gun because that glue is so hot coming out of that gun that it actually melts the foam. So I'm going to take my glue pot, which is, I don't think you can see it on the way that I have the camera, but I'm just taking the hot glue from my glue pot and putting it on the foam. And for some reason, this glue, while it is still hot, does not melt the styrofoam the way that the glue gun does. So all I'm doing is putting a piece in the bottom just to build up so that the foam is more at the level that we want when we start designing. I'm going to do that again with this bigger piece of foam. I'll put the glue just down the center of the foam, because that's the only place that it's going to hit the styrofoam that I just glued in. So there's no need to put a lot of glue all over it, simply because it's not going to touch the foam. Okay. So let's put that in. All right, and as an added measure, I'm just going to take skewers. These are skewers that you get from, they're for cooking or barbecuing, and I just use them in this case just to go through the two pieces of foam and to give it, just hold them together. Adds a little pressure by holding them together. So space these out a little bit, push them down, make sure they go through. You can feel them hit the bottom of the box, and there we go. Now, my design, I'm thinking that I want to have the two gingerbread people at different levels. I wanted one lower and then one higher to give it a different perspective. So let me see if you can see that. And by adding this little bit of foam here, they're a little bit different in height. So let's go and put those, let's put this foam in real quick. I'm going to do the same process. I'm going to put hot glue on the bottom, and then just put it on an angle here. All right, so you can see it's on the angle, and then I'll put one gingerbread here, one on the top there. Now, I'm not going to use a skewer right at this point, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a skewer on my gingerbread, and that's how I'm going to attach the gingerbread boy and girl to the foam. So I'll use one skewer to do, don't you just love the little boots? I think those are what tickled me the most, I think. So what I'm going to do here is, instead of putting a skewer in to hold this foam to this foam, I'm going to get another skewer. All right. And I'm trying to think. Maybe before we skewer these in, let's put in some greenery. How about that? And then we can skewer them in. Let's just green up the base a little bit, and then we'll be able to put the gingerbread boy and girl in, and we won't have to work around. Now, real quick, before I get started with that, I'm going to have to put just some glue sticks in my pot. I'm a little low, and I don't want the glue to start smoking because the heat from the pot with no glue in it. Now, what I use for a glue skillet is I went to Target and found a little electric skillet. It's 8 inches by 8 inches, and it's perfect. You can control the temperature. I usually melt my glue at about 350 degrees and then maintain it at 350. If it gets too hot, I can drop it down to 325. But generally, if I have enough glue sticks in there, 350 works just perfectly. Okay, so we're ready to go. Now, I'll hold this off to the side. This is a glue stick for my glue gun. And I'm going to start with the greenery I have. I have I'm going to try a little bit of an experiment today because I do have this pink, it's a very interesting greenery. I say greenery, but it is pink. But I thought it lends itself perfectly to the gingerbread theme. So I have 2 of these picks. They're slightly frosted, and I'm going to start with these. And then I'm going to mingle in other greenery. Now, I'm not sure if I should do the pink first. The pink is a little bright, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the pink in first, and then add the green to mix it up and, you know, to make it, give it a little bit less, you know, impact. I mean, I want it there. I want you to see it and that, but it just is so bright. You know, I want some greenery, regular greenery in there like this. I'm going to use this. So I brought 2 of these picks up. I think the best way to do this is I'm going to take and open this up and then cut down the main stem. Let's cut here. Okay, because I want it, make sure I have enough room to show you. I want it to hang over the edge a little bit, the greenery. I want it to come off of the container. But if I left that there, this here, all of this would be covered up by the gingerbread girl or boy, whoever is sitting on it. So I'm just going to cut it right in the middle. Let's hope I can get it. Yep. There we go. All right. And then just open this up a little bit, give it some dimension. And then I'm going to just bend it just a little bit so that it goes over the edge, okay? I'll dip the end in my glue pot, and then we'll put it in the foam. Now the reason I bent it before, because if I bent it while it was in the foam, it would probably break off the foam. Okay, the foam doesn't take that kind of pressure. This stem is pretty well wired, and I just didn't want to bend it, you know, it would just pop right out and break the foam. So let's open up this one. Let's do the same thing. Let's take the point off of it or the tip off of it and use the tip over here. And then we'll cut off all of the remaining pieces, and I'll do that right now. I'm just going to cut off the remaining pieces as close to the stem as I can possibly get. And then what we'll do is we'll put them in individually. We'll just kind of, you know, poke them where we want them. If we need some hanging over the edge, we can use that other stem. I won't cut them apart until I know for sure what we're going to do. So let's just, one little lone survivor here. He's just giving me a little bit of trouble. There we go. All right, so again, we're just going to take this one. We'll hold off these pieces. All right. And then we're going to take this piece, open it up the same way. Just spreading them out so I can see where I'm going to cut it. You can see the flocking is pretty much on just the top of these little branches. And when the branches were laying over each other, it didn't quite, the flocking didn't quite get down to that second level or second layer. So, okay, so I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to cut the stem right here so that I have the tip. I'll put the tip in back here, and you can see that just to give it the same, you know, it's coming off about the same. I'm going to bend it again. Okay, and you can see I just put a little bit of a bend on it. Not too much. It's not an easy stem to bend. Put it right in the middle. There we go. So, you can see that we have a good start. Clean up as we go. Now, with this, I can cut this up in a couple other pieces. Here's a 3 together. I can cut them in, let's see how many we have. 3 together there, and then 3 together. So I'm just going to cut this in thirds. So that each stem that I'm cutting has 3 pieces on it. And if I miss, it's not a big deal, but let's try. Whew, and that's what happened. One came off. Not a big deal for me. It's okay. I just thought it would be nice to have some pieces together. Oh my word! Woo! Glad that's over with. Okay, so I have a piece of 3 here that I think I'll put out. This is going to be the front right here. It's going to be the front of my arrangement. So I'm going to put this one into the front. Okay, so it kind of hangs over. All right. And then go along. Alrighty, and now all I'm left with, oh, here's my third one. I'm left with, after I put this one in, I'm left with all the single ones, you know, the ones that we cut off singly. So we'll just take our time and put those in. Just kind of mix them around. All right, I'm going to tuck this in the middle of the back. Just using the little seat, pushing it in that way. Okay, and now just put each one of these individually. We'll just go around. And again, what you're probably not able to see because of my camera position. I'm just dipping the end into the glue pot and just randomly putting these in. You can see that as a single, when they're single like this, they can't, they're not long enough technically to, you know, really hang over the edge. That's why I kept as many as I could together on that second stem. But this singly will work just fine, because what we're just trying to do is we're just trying to put these in, and then we'll fill in with the others, and the other greenery will take the pinkness down a little bit, and it'll be more of an accent as opposed to, as opposed to the main color. You know, it'll blend in more, I should say. Okay, after this, before I put any other greenery in, I am going to put my gingerbread in. I do want some pinkery up by the gingerbread boy or girl. I'm not sure who I'm going to put up high or low. Those are those hard decisions, huh? No, just kidding. I like just to see how they lay out a little bit before I commit to it. Just want to make sure those snazzy boots can be seen. Okay, and this is our last piece. I think I'll just put it over here in the corner. I've avoided putting any where the two gingerbreads are going to sit, so. Okay, so there we have it. Now, to do the placement, I'm going to eventually crisscross their legs. All right. See, a lot of it has to deal with the color too. The color of the blue color and then the pink color, you know. So that's how I'm thinking they're going to be, because the girl can cross her legs and the boy doesn't have to. So he can, if he wants to hang over a little bit to give him a little bit of, that's what I think I'll do, is just have his legs a little bit, for lack of a better word, well, we don't want, I guess we don't really, we want them together, but there we go. Okay, so now let's put them in. And this is the way I'm going to do it. I'm going to take a skewer, all right, and I'm going to just cut a little hole in the bottom. Just nick it with your scissors. You don't need a big hole. There we go. And this is, of course, stuffing in there. So I'm going to take my skewer with some glue on it. I'm going to go right in that hole. I'm not going to worry if the glue doesn't go in. It will go in, but it will also stay out, which will kind of seal that up in the back there. All right, so there's one. And this one I'm just checking to make sure, because I'm going to put him here, and I want him to be able to sit. There we go. Might just take maybe a half an inch off of that, just so that it goes all the way to the bottom. And then let's do the same, excuse me, with the little girl gingerbread. And I'm going to get a regular skewer. A half skewer, because we do want it to go in. I'm going to cut that little hole, just nipping a little bit of that fabric. Okay. Let's put the skewer in the same way. Oh, lordy, lordy, where did it go? Did I even, yeah, there it is. There we go. Okay. I got a little bit of the flocking from the pink, but we'll clean that off. Now, I'm going to take my glue pot, the glue from my glue pot on a stick, and just put the glue on the skewer. All right, and then a little bit on her bottom, so that when she makes contact with the foam, she'll stick on that as well. Okay. Keep her legs out of the glue, and then just push her down. Now, I'm holding the stick on the inside of the doll, on the inside of the gingerbread lady. Girl, that way. And I'm just going to get my needle nose pliers. I'm going to hold that skewer with that and push down the skewer. Okay. Since I put so much glue on there, I definitely did not want to touch that skewer with my fingers. And the glue will come right off the needle nose pliers. It's not an issue at all. But this does show you that the hot glue does not stick to metal. It's all came right off. Okay, so she's in there. She's in there really well. I'm just gonna make sure. I'm trying to grab that skewer. There we go. Through the body. There we go. All right, now you couldn't ask for a better. Her bottom is on that foam. That's glued in. Okay. Now, let's get him in. We're going to do the same thing. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put glue on the bottom of the gingerbread. I'm not going to worry too much about the skewer. That way I can kind of grab the skewer and not have to go through the machination I just did for the gingerbread girl. Okay, so I did not put glue on the skewer. Now I want to make sure that do we want him facing her a little bit? Or, yeah, let's have him face. They're friends. There we go. And again, I'm just kind of squeezing the body of the doll and holding the skewer on the inside. There it is. So that his bottom comes down onto the foam. Alrighty. Make him sit up straight. And there we go. Now I just have to fix his legs. I'll probably have to fix them a couple of times, and then I'll take get all this flocking from the pink off towards the end, because it's just gonna continue to get on there until we're done. All right, so there we have it. Our gingerbread little boy and girl are in there. Whew, covered with that flocking. Okay, so let's move right to our next greenery. I'm going to clean this up. Minimize all that falling all over the place. All right, I have long needle pine here. I have 2 of these. I also have a eucalyptus, a frosted eucalyptus. Lightly frosted. You can see the glitter on it. Okay, so I have these 3 pieces or types of greenery yet to put in. We'll just mix them in. And I have a couple more bushes of each of these, or picks of each of these if we need more. But I'm going to just start by opening up one of each. And by opening up, I'm just taking and pulling each one of these branches back so that I can cut them off of the main stem and then put them in individually. And this is a nice piece of greenery because it's got evergreen in it. It's got its own version of long needle pine. It's a good mix. Okay, so and they're all different sizes, which is just perfect. I'm just going to go right along the stem like I did before and nip it right where it joins the stem. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort these by type. And then we'll, excuse me, we'll distribute them throughout the centerpiece. Oh, we even have cedar in this. We had evergreen, cedar, and long needle pine. Okay, and there we go. So let's just sort these real quick. We have the cedar and the evergreen, long needle pine, cedar. And this one is, oh, there's a cedar attached to it. I'm just going to separate it. Okay, evergreen, and there. Okay, and evergreen. All right. Now, the reason I did that is because you want them to be evenly distributed. You don't want all the long needle pine over here, and well, maybe you do, but I don't. I'm not going to do it that way. I'm just going to take and start with the evergreen, kind of give it a little bend, and if you need to, you can pull off or cut off the little bottom pieces to give it a better, easier to get into the foam. All I'm doing is just cutting them off so I have a little bit of an edge there, and then just stick them in. And when you stick them in, you're just going to take and kind of move the pink around. Oops, let's finish this. We just put in one. I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I have 6 of these pieces. And I'll just go around and put them in. I am just cutting these little needles off the bottom just to give it a better chance to adhere. Just bend them. You don't want them straight. You kind of want to give a little bit of a bend so that they look more natural. And I think in a few, after we put in a few, now I'm just going to kind of push this through. Bring the pink over it so it all melts in together. I think even with the few that we have in there right now, you can see that the green takes down the pink a little bit, and it's going to turn out really well blended. You know, and the pink will be there, but it won't be so prominent. That's better, probably the better word. Not as prominent as it. Going to the back on this side. And I have 2 more left. Make sure I'm bending it the right way. Okay, one in this corner up here. What you see me pulling away is my glue strings. I'm not waving any magic at this. I know I didn't explain this before, and there was one video I was doing, and I seem to be doing that a lot. That one of the comments I got was, you know, kind of asking me what I was doing, only because you can't really see the glue strings on the camera. But believe me, they're here. This is my last one. Okay, and I think I'll put it up by her. Just trimming off the, so I have a point and I can put it in. All right. And there we go. That's just the first greenery. Now I'm going to do the long needle pine. And this I'll definitely have to pull off some of these needles on the bottom because they form such a tight. All I'm doing is just trimming them off so that I have a point that I can push down. Now we only have 3 of these, so we have to use them judiciously because we want them to be spread out throughout the arrangement. So I'll put one there. I'll put one up here in the front. This one has a tip on it, so it's not as bad or as tight as it was the other one. Just lifting up my pink, pushing this in to the foam. You want to hear that crunch? I'm going to bring the pink down through to separate the 2 greens. Okay, so I have a long needle there. I have one in the back. Let's put one over here in this corner. This one that needs to be trimmed off a bit. As soon as we're done greening the base, which means just putting all the greens in, and we can put the fun things in. And what I've collected from my stash, I have a couple of lollipops, some marshmallows, and ornaments. And we'll see what we can use. I do also have the things for a bow. I want to make a bow for this. Okay. So, last is our cedar. We have 3 of our cedars. We're just going to push these through. Do the same thing we've been doing, just distribute them throughout. And if I have to lift up to get to the foam, I do, and then just pull the pink over it. Bend this again and put it in. Make sure you hear that crunch. So you're getting it into the foam. And there. Let's put a cedar bush over here behind. And then we'll bring one to the front. Bring it underneath this pink here in front. Okay, and by hanging it over the edge, we're giving it dimension. There we go. Hope you can see that. All right, now I'm going to use this long needle pine because it's a different texture, it's a different length. There's only a few of these branches on here, so it's not going to take over the arrangement. I don't want these pine cones. I don't mind the small ones that are on the branches, but I'm not going to use the ones that are not. Okay, so we have 5 of these, I believe. Okay, we have 3 longer ones and 2 shorter ones. So let's just be, just be aware of what you're using. All right, and put the longer ones towards the back and the corners. Another long one over here. You see, because they're lighter and wispier, they give a much different texture. It's a nice addition to the arrangement. I'm going to put one tall in the back, kind of in the middle. And then I'll put these two in the front. And we can actually use one in the front here, and then I'll put one over on the side here. All right, and you'll just, again, the principle is just really spreading them out. That's all, no matter which greeneries you're using. All right, so there we have that. Now, before I put this one in, I am going to take and add some of our fun things. Now I have lollipops. So you have the three, and I thought, my initial thought was to bunch them all together right here in the back. Instead of spreading them out. And then I thought with that, after that I have marshmallows. I have these picks that have marshmallows on them. We can intersperse those. A couple of those picks. We don't have to use them all. I just grabbed what I had. And then I have a ball pick. And then two other types of lollipops. I think those are, as I'm working with it, I think those are a little too big. So I do have this smaller bunch of it. So we'll see how that goes. All right, so in addition to that, we do want a bow. So I think I'll work on the bow real quick because that's a big, takes up a big part of the arrangement. And usually when I work, I put in my big pieces first, and then, you know, gradually get smaller and smaller. So let's put them aside for a little bit. Now here's my quandary about bows. I'm gonna just actually put this off so that it doesn't compete with them. Okay. Now, this is my quandary about bows. I don't have a gingerbread ribbon. I just have, I've gone through, I tend not to buy ribbons that are specific because, you know, you can make do with other things, you know. Like I can get the point across, I guess is what I'm saying, with other ribbons. Like this ribbon here to me is just like gingerbread. All right, I have this one here, which is, I mean, that is absolutely perfect. That is gingerbread. It's got the rickrack on it, which matches them. The problem that I'm struggling with this one is it's 2.5 inches, and that takes up a lot of space in this tiny little arrangement. You know, so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to maybe put a strip of this in my bow. I'm not going to make loops. Maybe I'll just put a strip in to add it, you know, I mean, and then use this primarily for my gingerbread feel. All right, and now you can see I've gone through and picked out anything that had pink, white, or purple, or even this kind of minty green. All right, now obviously I can't use all of these, but what I wanted to do is pretty much, you know, I definitely want one of each. I want a purple, I want a pink, and I want a blue. I also have a white in here, and then I have that. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to make one loop of each ribbon, and it will basically be a 5-loop bow because I'll use 5 different colors. I'm definitely going to use this one. I'm rethinking this one, so I'm going to push it aside because I just don't. These two are too wide. They too are 2.5 inches, and I think that's just going to eat up too much space in the arrangement. Okay, now I do like this purple, but I feel like this purple will work. So I'm going to take out this purple. You're probably wondering why I didn't do this beforehand. A lot of times it just depends on, for me, it depends on how the arrangement is starting to look. That's why I pull what I think I could use, and then I go from there. Now, I have a white with a pink, so I don't need this white. Let's take that one out. I'm getting there, guys. I'm getting there, I promise. We definitely need something with blue, so I'm going to put that sparkle in, and I think we need something with pink, and I think I'll go with that. All right. So you might have come up with a different bow than I did, but that's what I'm going to do. Now I'm going to start with, let's separate the two whites and the pink, because this is white with a pink edge, and then I don't want the two of those together. This is going to be my top bow because it is the thinnest. This is only a 1-inch ribbon. These are 1.5 inch ribbons. So, and I want this one in the middle. So I think what we'll end up doing is, well, let's reverse it and go this way. All right, so we're going to start with the blue and then build it this way. All right, now I don't want a lot of tails. I just want the loops. So I'll have to think this through, and I'm going to get a zip tie. So that's how I tie off my bows, is with a zip tie. All right, so I'm going to have a tail. Let's do a 7-inch tail. When you use a bow maker, you put the ribbon through the pegs and you're going to twist it. That's going to be the middle of your bow. All right. And then I'm going to make just a 5-inch loop. Okay. Push this down because I'm only using one loop of each ribbon. Okay. And I'm going to cut this right at the, okay, this is the first time I'm doing it this way, so you guys may see me have to scramble and make another bow if it doesn't work out, but right now I think it will. All right, so the next ribbon we chose to do was the gingerbread. Actually, I'm going to put the gingerbread in the middle. I'm going to do pink next. And then I'll do the gingerbread. Okay, we're going to do the same process. However, we're going to start with the loop. And real quick, I am going to dovetail because I hate having to worry about dovetailing at the end. So I'm going to take and dovetail real quick. All right. Now I need the loop over on this side, so I'm going to put the tail in on that side, do the twist, make a 5-inch loop on this side, and then compress it because we don't need it twisted. And then I'm just going to cut off again right there. Okay, so we have 2 bows and 2 tails. Now the gingerbread. Maybe what I'll do with this one is I'll put two loops in. I'm going to start with the tail up at the top, and I'll do 2 loops. Break my rule. Still trying to keep the loops about the same size, which we decided was 5 inches. This one needs a little bit more length. There we go. And then I'll cut it off. The reason I'm doing 2 of the gingerbread, 2 loops and 2 tails, is because we do need to keep that beige or that neutral color in there that that says gingerbread. Okay, so that's done with that ribbon. Now we're going to do the pink and white. This is similar to the blue one that we put in at the bottom. It's very thick and it's very, it's covered heavily with glitter. But it's interesting, the glitter does not come off, so it's very well made ribbon. It's a D. Stevens, it's a very nice, well made ribbon. Okay, dovetail, put it in, twist it in the middle. We're going to go back to just one loop. Okay, and cut it off very close to the middle, as close as you can get it. Okay. I knew I had a pin for this one. If I can find it quickly, I'll grab it. If not, I'll look for it later. I'll find it eventually. Okay, now the purple. Now, since the purple's on the top, I don't want to leave it cut like this, so I am going to use two loops of the purple as well. And this is a 1-inch ribbon, so I don't dovetail my 1-inch. I just cut them on an angle and give it a knife's edge. This is called a knife's edge. Okay, so I'm going to start at the top with this tail, and I'm going to do 2 loops. And when I get into the middle, when you do 2 loops, you have to twist the middle, right in the middle of the pegs, so that the correct side of the ribbon is feeding from the bottom, and then comes up on your loop. That's why you have to, do the twist. There's a little thread on this one. Okay, and then just knife edge cut it, and we're done. Now we'll see how this bow fits and looks in our arrangement. I'm thinking I'd like it between the 2 of them, and if I have to pull out that one long needle pine that I put in at the end, I'll do that. It's not. I told you I'd find that pin. There it is. Just because it's in there doesn't mean that I can't remove it. Just take a little test of strength. I'll pull it out if it's in the way. If it's not, we'll just leave it. All right. There we go. All right. So now to get the bow off, I'm going to take my zip tie and I'm going to slide it underneath the bow all the way under all of the loops and move it, shimmy it to the side of the pegs down on the bottom. All right, and then I just zip it up. All right, and I do want to get, I'll explain about nubs in a minute, but let me grab one real quick. All right, so then I use that zip tie to pull it off. And just before I pull it off, I'm going to put the zip tie down the middle of those 2 pegs. And what that does is it pulls the zip tie pretty much to the middle of the bow where all of the crosses, where the ribbon is twisted. Because you want that zip tie right in the middle there. Okay, then when I take it off, just pull it. And before I pull it real tight, I'm going to put this nub. Now this nub is the bottom edge. I cut off this end of my picks and things, and I save the ends. All right, and the ends are good for things like this. Or if I need to put a bow into an arrangement and I can't tie it in like with a pipe cleaner or whatever, I put this nub right in there. I'm just tightening it as tight as it goes, cut off the zip tie, and then I just take and bend this nub so it's like this gigantic pick that I can now put into the styrofoam of the arrangement. All right, So I'll glue this end and then stick it into the arrangement. Again, I use this method for times when I don't have, you know, if I'm making a wreath, you can tie it in the wreath, you can tie your bow in with pipe cleaners, but there's really no place to tie this bow in. Okay, so all I'm going to do is I'm just going to take and kind of adjust everything, spread it out, give these loops, bring them forward. Okay. Just moving the edges. Okay, so we have, and there we go. Okay, now let's see. I'm going to just turn this towards me to see how I like this. If it's too big, or if something needs to be pulled. I am going to end up pulling that long needle pine, which is what we put in. Whew. Okay, you can see now it opens up a little bit more of the room for the bow. And then I'm going to just cut down my nubs a little bit so that they go in there. Let's test it out. How I want them to be. I want the bows to go across or down. Okay, let's glue it in. If we don't like it, we'll pull it and put it someplace else or remake it. There's no real right or wrong. It's all what looks good to your eye, and sometimes when I think of something and then I do it, it doesn't look the same as what I thought it was. So no big deal. If it doesn't work, we just pull it. And all I'm doing is just kind of getting the loops. Okay, these tails, if they're too long, I'm just going to trim them up. I'm glad I put that 2 loops of the gingerbread like look to it, because it definitely needs it. It definitely needed it. This loop. Okay, now this, it's interesting because as you can see, as I'm manipulating it, this little piece right here is starting to kind of get in the way of everything. You know what? We can cut that. We can cut that right off. So, like I said, I'm just trying to impress it upon you that, you know, just try something. If it doesn't work, modify it. If that doesn't work, pull it out, huh? Nothing is bad. Now this, I'm just evening out my purple so that they're about the same. I do like the pink and the blue one hanging over. And then this pink one here. I'm not going to lose it right away. I'm just going to see if I can put up with it for a little bit longer. Okay, now I want to make sure their legs come through. They're important. Okay, so all I'm doing is just manipulating their legs a little bit. Hers work out fine. His are a little buried, but I'll get them out. Okay. Kind of cute working them through the bow. Boy, his feet are just filled with that flocking. I don't know where his feet have been, but picked up every piece of flocking available. Okay, so. There we go. Okay, so we see their feet. Both of their feet are available. Feet are there. The bow is a little bit big, but you know something, it's growing on me. So let's finish up by putting in some of the, now see, the purple is probably the only thing that's fighting me, but she does have purple in the scarf and the purple in the bow. So I'm going to keep it for a while and let's put this piece back in, and I'll think about it. You know, if I'm working through and it still doesn't grab me, I'll just I'll just cut that purple out. Okay, now I just need to put this pine back in. There we go. His feet are there. Alrighty, so we have our main thing. Now let's see if these lollipops are going to be too overpowering. I'm not 100% sure that they're going to work. Kind of just have to see. I think they're going to be fine. This is a whimsical piece, so again, if it doesn't work, we'll just pull them out. I do like the fact that all three of these together make up the colors of the gingerbread boy and girl, their clothing. Okay. Now, the only thing that I want to do is I want to make sure that they're staggered. I don't want them at the same level. I want them overlapping a little bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line them up here to get the look that I want. Okay. And then because you only can cut these things one time. Okay, so pretty sure I have to cut these all. And actually, I'm going to put the first one in, the tallest one in first, to see how much I have to cut off. If I have to cut off anything on this one. And I probably don't, not on the tallest one. I probably can get by with, because we do have quite a bit of foam to go through, so. So I punch through, which I didn't necessarily want to do, but it's in there really tightly, so it doesn't bother me. Okay. Alrighty. Now, just going to take my flamethrower here, and I'm going to just, because I did push it down all the way, and then I had to lift it back up. I don't necessarily want it to be able to, to be pulled out so easily. So I just glued it. We'll give it a chance to cure. See, that's how hot this gun is. It just melted. This is a plastic stem, and it melted the stem. Not a problem, folks, because we're just going to pull it out, and we'll make the pink one of the shorter ones. I've learned my lesson with the gun. I'm not going to use the gun. Thank God this is the first one I put in, not the third. Okay, so lesson learned. He will be our short one. Our shorter one. Okay, and I'm going to punch it in. Okay, can I pull the bow out? No, the bow is still there. No problem. All right. Now we'll make the blue one, the tall one. Use my glue skillet instead of the glue gun. Okay, I'm working backwards here. And then the purple. Now the purple, if I put on enough of a slant, I may not need to cut it. I want it in front. I will cut it just a bit. All I'm doing is I'm just taking a little glue, because that ribbon goes all the way down the edge of the, there we go. And if you don't glue it at the bottom, it unwinds the whole way. So we don't need that. Now, let me face it my way so I can see where I want to tuck this one in. Okay. Dip it in the glue. Okay. So, there we go. Let's just add a few other pieces. I do want the marshmallows in. My granddaughters are big marshmallow lovers. So I'll just cut these off. I'm going to keep them in bunches like this. So I'm just going to cut down the bunch, but keep the three of them together. I'm just kind of playing with them for now. I'm not sure how I'm going to put them in. I don't want them fighting the lollipops. So I'm not going to put them upright. I'm going to kind of put them out. And before I glue them in, I'm just going to take and kind of place them around to see, make sure that that's the look I like. These can come out kind of in the front. And the other thing too is try to avoid doing the exact same thing on both sides because it'll look like ears, mouse ears. So what I'm trying to do is I don't want to take, while I like the position, I like the position of these marshmallows on this side. I don't want to do the same thing over here because then it looks, you can do the same thing maybe taller, you can do the, but if you put them exactly the same way, when you look back at your arrangement, you'll see it just doesn't look the same. I mean, it looks kind of like monkey ears or not monkey ears, mouse ears. A famous mouse ears. All right, so I'm going to bring these a little bit more forward. I'm going to cut them down a bit. I still want them together, so I'm not going to cut. They're still together. They still have one stem down here, and I'm going to glue these right in instead of working with them more because I cut them so close to them. This position here, I'm going to put these in as well. I'll just pull them out, put glue on the bottom and stick them right back in the same hole. Okay, and kind of as a rule, I like to design in threes. So I'm going to find one more place to put these three. Okay, your eyes move better when you're like triangular placement. Your eyes will move throughout the arrangement. So that's why a lot of designers and most picks come in threes because of the triangular positioning. Now, I don't want these tall, but I do want them over here. So let's see what we can do here. If we don't want them tall, but let's see how that looks. Yeah, that'll work because we do have balls and we do have other lollipops if we're interested in them. And we've got plenty of greenery still to fill in, so everything will work out just fine. And again, I'm not going to fight with these three. I'm just going to pull them off to the side a little bit. Okay. Let me double check. I'm sorry. I don't want you to take motion sickness pills because I'm turning this so much. But I just want to see how it looks straight on. Okay. All right. Now let's cut up these balls. These add a different element, a different texture, but stay in our same Now I'm feeling a little bad because here's the old maid. She's left out. Maybe we should find a way to put them in. And you know what I'm going to do? I am going to put them in, but I'm not going to put them in a group of 3. I'm going to break them up. Because I'd only have one of these picks left. And what can you really do with just one pick? So, just going to cut them, separate them. Oh, save my nut. Okay. And let's just find single places to put it. I'm going to grab the smallest, the shortest one first. Stick it in the front, just below the bow. Okay, and I have a pink and a blue. I think I'll put the pink. Don't want to make this a big, time-consuming thing. Just have to kind of see my options. That one looks pretty good there. The pink actually looks like it's part of the other threesome that are over here. If I put that there, it fills kind of a blind spot. There we go. Okay, and then I'll put the blue one down here with the green one. We'll have two marshmallows down here at the bottom. Nope. I wish you could have seen it. It was exactly what I was telling you before. You can't put them together like that. There it is. There it is. It's going to fit right in here. Okay. So we got our marshmallows in. All right. Now we're just going to add our balls. Now I can see that there's 3 big stems on here. There's 2 on each stem. 2 here on this stem, 2 on this stem. Just gonna cut them in 3 stems. And these, believe it or not, are so heavily wired. Whew. It's gonna take some feats of strength to get this separated. Oh. Shot it right out there. Okay, so we have 1, and then 1 of the curlies. Now, the curly, I have this little wand here. I'm just going to take and put the curl back in this wire because I like it curled up. So all I do is just wind it around. There we go. Just compress it. And it's got the curl back. Okay. So you can see the curl is back. All right. Now let's just cut these. I think I have to stand up for this. Oh my goodness. Woo-wee. Hopefully those are the worst 2. I hope it gets a little easier. I've got to just cut these 2 apart and then we're done with the much easier. Okay, so we have 3 with 2 balls each. Okay, now let me just turn this so I can see kind of how they spread out. Okay, I'm going to put 1 back here. Now I'm going to see which one is the tallest. Take off this fishing wire. Okay. So you can see that these 2 are relatively the same height. This one's a bit taller. So, I'm going to quickly fix this. The yarn is just sticking up just a little bit. I'm just going to put a dab of glue and fix it. And I know that glue gun is just dying to get me, so I'm going to use this skewer. There we go. All fixed. Okay, so if I put this one back here, again I'm thinking in threes. I'm trying to space them out. I'm going to put this one back this way. It is the tallest one. I'm going to put it on an angle so it doesn't fight with the lollipops. It has its own. There's some greenery in between it. Okay. And we do have more greenery, just one more type of greenery to put in. So I have balls there. I'm thinking I want to put a ball down here in the front. I have the marshmallow over here and marshmallows here. So let's see if we can get some balls in here. And again, these are about the same size, so let's see if it looks okay. You gotta keep his legs up so we don't lose his legs in all of it. Let's see where this last one can go. Be in front of all the marshmallows. All right. This one's going to go in this corner here. Boy, as much as I hate to say this, I'm going to have to take and separate these two. But I don't think these wires are going to be too bad. No. Whew. Sweating that one out. Okay, put one ball in here. And then I'm going to put one ball over on this corner, closer to her. Okay. Did I glue this one in? Yes, I did, but I'll just re-glue it. I wasn't quite sure. There we go. All right. There. Here we have our candy and our lollipops and marshmallows and balls all put in. Now the last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some of this frosted greenery. Okay, I'm going to cut it off the stems. And I'm going to cut each stem. Let me move my eraser here so you can see. Each one of these stems can be cut and make two. See, like there's a long stem and then there's this. So I'm just going to separate these and make, this pick came with 5 stems. I'm going to just make them into 10. Just going to cut each one at a point where you're cutting it basically in half. But you're leaving a long enough stem on that top one that you're cutting off so that you can glue it in. Okay, just a few more and then we're done. Okay. So we should have 10 and some of them are smaller. We put the smaller ones right in the back. We need to kind of camouflage the back a little bit more because of you know, we paid so much attention to the front that the back, you can still see the foam a little bit. So all I'm doing is going around along the bottom of the arrangement and tucking in little pieces of this along the bottom to give it an additional texture, but also serving two purposes. It's covering up the back, the foam, any foam that we see at the bottom. And then it's doing its a little bit of camouflage. I'm going to put one in the corner here. Do the crunch. And actually I can see a little bit right here. There's kind of a, if you look from the front, you could see we're lacking a little bit of filler in there. So now, perfect. You can see from here in the front, you could see through the whole arrangement. By putting that little piece in, it stops your eye from moving and keeps it in there. Now we just have a few more, and then this is the tallest one. So I'm going to put him down in the front, bring him down here. Sorry, you can't really see me doing what I'm doing, but I'm just kind of putting it in. Not sure if I'm gonna like it, but you know that bone, I felt like the bone needed to be broken up. So maybe what I'm gonna do is use a smaller one. This is the smaller one. And let's just break up this bow a little bit with a smaller one. Just fits kind of in the bow there. You can still see all the parts of the bow, but see, just kind of filled in there. Okay, now definitely need one here in the corner. And you can see one of the bigger ones that I have left. Okay, 3 more. You see on this side, there's a lot of pink right here. So I'm going to take one, push it right in the middle. It breaks up the pink a little bit. Okay, and we're back where we started. So now these two are pretty much free. Let me just take a look and see where they'll look the best. I do feel like in front of this green marshmallow here, I think we could use one. Let me just see what it looks like. Yeah, see it kind of softens that up a little bit. You don't see the stems of the marshmallows, kind of camouflaging the stem of the marshmallow a little bit. Coming up higher. Okay, and let's put one in under her feet. There we go. Now it's just going to take me a little time to stretch out their legs, take off the flocking from there. But you can see all of their legs. Okay. And there we go. That is our arrangement for today. I hope you like it, or at least have some inspiration from it so that you can make something on your own design. But it just started with a box. I put in a couple of layers of foam And then I put one slightly higher layer of foam so that the two gingerbread kids would be on different levels. And then of course we used skewers to put the gingerbread in. We started with one greenery, pinkery, our pink evergreen, and we spread it out, and then we put in all the different textures of the greenery to give it some depth and to break up the pink. We added all the extra little things and just finished up. We had to put a bow in the middle. And again, if you want to leave out the bow on any arrangement, go ahead. You know, I mean, you do realize that, you know, bows, first off, take up a lot of real estate, and secondly, if you use too much ribbon or too wide of ribbon, it takes up too much. So there's always like a fine line, but I do feel like a bow adds a little bit of whimsy to this arrangement. I want to thank you very much. I appreciate your time, the time that you spent with me. I don't take it lightly, and I'm wishing you and your family a very happy holiday season. Thank you very much.